On this episode of One-on-One, we're going to talk to someone. I don't know how we're going to get all this in. Miss Mary Aucoin is our guest. When we come back, we're going to start off and throw more information at you. So get ready, get the brain ready. We'll absorb it. We'll be right back. One-on-One is brought to you by the Law Office of Waits and Downer. What didn't you teach? Is there anything? Or were you just versatile at anything?
I would guess in the field of physical education, I just about could do anything I wanted to, and I was pretty good at it.
But I'm trying to get in your mindset here. When you were maybe asked to teach archery or do something, did you go dive in the books and go out there with a bow and arrow and learn it, or what did you do?
They were teaching us units. You see, they were teaching us units, and so I was taking what I had learned in my class and teaching those fundamentals to the freshman girls. You know, I knew I could do it, and I'm just full of fun, Martin, and I think that was, everything was fun to me. I never looked at it as a job or something difficult to do. Tell me to do it, I'm going to get out there and give it my 100%.
And you've led me right into the bragging part here, because I want you to brag a little bit, because I saw where Governor Edwin Edwards asked you to do things. I saw where everybody was asking Mary to step up and run this program or run that program. List as many as you remember the programs that you spearheaded. I saw you're president of your class. You were always in the leading role somewhere.
Well, when I finished UL, I was given the honor of being the best physical education graduate, the top graduate in the girls' PE department. Education 2000 is what you're referring to with Governor Edwards. Right. And, you know, it dribbled down through the schools and the community and that. And at that time, I was in the private sector. I had retired from South Carolina High School in 1982. And I was working with the little kids.
Right.
I had gymnastics development, GDC Young Learner School.
Right.
And then we eventually built Mary Oaks Preschool.
Right.
And my whole goal there, because what I learned through those years with just hand-on teaching and working with the small children, that one of the most important ingredients is self-esteem. And to get a child ready for school is not necessarily about the academics. It's about building the character. Because if they learn to be responsible, if they have effective communication skills, if they're able to live within a structure, follow the rules, you know, have self-control, that is the thing that grooms them for success going forward.
And boy, we follow do we need that now, don't we?
Oh gosh, yes. We're still doing it.
I know, but
this is. Is
it more of a challenge now?
It is.
But you like challenges.
That's right. And we do. We roll our sleeves up and take them head on. I find there's more children with developmental issues, some mild to moderate. We can pretty much handle it in our programs, you know, but if a child needs one-on-one, we can't do that, and it's not fair to the child.
And so you're a perfect person for me to ask this to because of your career. Kids coming up today are entrenched with cell phones and everything else and never have that one-on-one. When we were sitting down as youngsters and mom and dad said, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Exactly.
Look them in the eyes, do this, do that. We've sort of lost that art a little bit, haven't we?
We teach that at GDC. It's yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, thank you. Could I please play with that toy? And the child playing with the toy can say yes, or say, I'll let you play with it when I'm finished. So we give them the words to communicate. I think what happens is that there's a mindset that from age 1 to 5, all you have to do is just make them comfortable, do everything for them, just not allowing them to use their little minds. And so I have a program at South Terrebonne, it's called the Mom Tot class, and it's from 12 months, or when they start walking, to 27 months. And it's a mom and tot. It's either mom or dad or papa or grandma. Anybody can bring them. But we set up a circuit, and we put them in the middle of that circuit. And it includes going in different directions, experiencing different levels, and how to negotiate those levels safely, going through things, around things. And so within the scope of that circuit, they can design wherever they want to go, and the parent just makes certain that they are negotiating all the different levels safely. You know, toes go first, not nose. That's our golden rule. And it's just amazing.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
That's incredible, though. You make it sound so simple, but that's not a simple process. And to have someone like you do this is a gift to a community. When did you realize you had the skills to do this?
In that same program you're talking about, Education 2000, we were trying to come up with, Martha South was a co-chairman with me, and we were trying to come up with a speaker that would come and address developing children, you know, and some of the things, especially discipline, you know, how do you do it? Right. And there was a Dr. Betsy Geddes, which was from, I want to say Portland, Oregon. And she, I had a daughter-in-law, my son in Houston, his wife was a teacher, an elementary teacher, and Dr. Geddes had come and did a big program for that school district.
She wrote you a letter too.
She did.
Yeah.
She wrote me, really impressed with the program that we had set up, and just encouraged me to continue doing that. But she wrote a book, Love and Logic, and that was training children through love and with logic. Right. You know, and one of the main things she said, you know, if a child refuses to stay in the seatbelt, then the car stops. And the car does not move until that seatbelt is clicked and that child decides that they're going to be able to stay in that seatbelt. And her comment was that that might take you 1 or 2 times, right. But after that, when they get the message, it's a done deal.
So in other words, don't let the kids negotiate their own future. No. You do it for them.
Right, and with just a very calm, matter-of-fact thing, this is how it's going to be. Yeah. She talked about time out, you know, and most people think time out is like a punishment or, you know, a disciplinary thing. No, time out is just that. It's time out for you, because you're in an emotional state, because this child is not doing things that might be safe or against your wishes. And time out for the child. I need you to go to your room because I need time out. And when I can, I'm going to go in there and we're going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Parents are their child's first teacher. And in order to teach, it has to be done in an environment of somebody is speaking and somebody is listening. Mm-hmm. And you cannot do that in a rage. So time out is to calm you down, and then you're able to teach them, once again, what is acceptable and not acceptable. And that goes from age 2 all the way up to however old they are.
All these programs that you were helping develop, I think that started in the Clinton era?
Yes.
Okay. So it was a big change across the country taking place, and you seized that opportunity to implement something that you always wanted to do. Is that a fair statement?
It is. Okay. But it was a renewal because in my generation, you were disciplined at home. Right. The teachers never had to worry about disciplining you at school, because if you didn't follow a rule or refused to do something, your parent was called in, and that was worse than going to the principal's office.
Yeah, you're bringing back old memories there.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
Some parents go into a situation that their kids are in. Kids can do no wrong. And the parents are going to tell the teacher, this is what I want you to do. I bet you've had a few parent-teacher conferences. I think you get your point across real quick.
I do. Yeah. If we have a child that's struggling, and I know exactly what the problem is, I call them into my office, the parent, and I explain to them why it doesn't work and why it's so important that we teach them to do these things for themselves and how to handle it. Like if they're doing everything for them at home and we're teaching independence at school, that confuses the child. And so we both are letting them down. And in order to be successful with children, everybody has to be on the same page. But it's up to the educators to help parents understand why it's important and what are the most, I guess, the most important things that you have to instill in them. And it's a lot of what was taught to me, just being responsible for my own actions, being willing to accept the challenge, and knowing who was in charge.
Mm-hmm. And I know we veered off a little bit, but I think it's important. But you could probably sense when it has sunk in to a child and they're making that, they turn in that corner. I bet you go, yes. A lot. Yeah.
And I also report to parents, thank you. You have done an awesome job helping us to develop this. And this child is doing so good. Yeah, we keep the parents informed.
And I'm sure now you've been able to watch students down the line become leaders.
Oh, it's amazing what some of them have done. We always ask a parent, well, they come and volunteer. Miss Mary, I came here. They're bringing their own children back to the school. But it's just when parents can get on the same page, that's so important to help a child believe in themselves, and they just sail. It's so much easier to be a parent. When you start them when they're little, then you have no problems. And the parents will stop and say, Miss Mary, you taught me, and they'll tell me whatever it is, and I don't ever remember that, but they said, and it worked.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you got a great track record. Okay, so in 1957, you graduated from Port Barre High School. 1961, graduated from USL in May with a Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education and Physical Education and Science. So that's what they were dangling that carrot to you over there in South Terrebonne. 1964, married Rudy Aucoin on June 20th. Then 1966, birth of your first son, Bernie. 1968, birth of your second son, Kurt. 1976, spearheaded the acceptance of gymnastics as an extra school sport by the High School Athletic Association. What was that? I'm going to keep going, but what was that? Explain that
Well,
to me.
that's when I went to, of course, I had Dan Landry was the principal, and he was just awesome. And he saw the program that we were doing, and he believed in it. And so I went to him and asked, that's when I requested to be able to compete against other schools and their teams. And he said, then we have to get it approved by the Louisiana High School Athletic Association. So myself and Bill Jennings, who still teaches gymnastics in Thibodaux, we wrote the rules out, and we went with Mr. Landry to meet with Tommy Henry in Baton Rouge and presented our program. And he said, by all means, I mean, there was no question that he was going to approve it.
So I got to change the record a little bit. Got to change history, because I've always thought certain coaches who were teaching sports, male coaches to girl athletes, sort of changed girls' athletics here in the parish. I got to correct the record. You were doing that before anybody else. So I apologize. I'm correcting the record today on One-on-One.
Okay.
So in
That's when they all went back into, that's when the girls were able to play softball and track and all of those sports. And of course, they have added so many more since then.
What did you see? Because I always said, we've covered girls' athletics here at the station quite a bit. And when they get competitive on something, get out the way.
Exactly.
They are coming at it.
Yes.
Did you sense that way back when? Because you played sport.
Oh yes. Well, the girls on my gym team was just could not wait. You know, they kept saying, chomping at the bit. I mean, they just was ready to go and compete. And we had so much fun. You load on a school bus and you go, you know, and come, regardless of what sport you're playing.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm. This one-on-one program has been brought to you by the law offices of Waits and Downer.